everybody. I had a student come see me yesterday, or a couple of days ago, and Bamba had a really good question. His question was about, how do I figure out what the population should be when I'm testing different assertions? And it was a really good question, and one that I thought that we should make into a video. So we know that when we're doing audit procedures, our audit procedures need to be related to testing a particular control, alright, if we're testing controls, or a substantive test. So I'm going to focus mostly on the substantive options today, and we know that those procedures need to meet particular assertions. Alright, no point in writing a procedure unless you've got an assertion in mind that you're testing. So remember, our assertions are occurrence, accuracy, completeness, cutoff, classification for transactions. Alright, and for our balances, we've got equivalence, existence, valuation, and allocation, completeness again, because they're the same, and then rights and obligations. And so Bamba's question was about, depending on which of these assertions am I using, do I have a different population for my audit sample? And the exact answer there is yes. So let's look at some examples. Okay, so let's start with a sales procedure. Okay, so in the sales process, we know that there is typically some sort of customer order, alright, leads to shipment of goods to the customer, alright, typically we'll send the customer some sort of invoice to show them how much they owe, and then we'll record our accounting transaction in a journal. Okay, so if we are testing, we're looking at the sales process here, so we're thinking about our occurrence, accuracy, completeness, cutoff, and classification assertions, then what I need to do is I need to think about what assertion I'm testing. So if I'm testing the occurrence assertion first, so we know occurrence is every journal entry that I've got here matching to a real customer order and real shipment of goods. So when I test occurrence, I know that I need to be vouching. I need to start at the end and work back to the beginning. So if I'm testing occurrence and I need to start with my journal entries and work back to my customer orders, my population, for which I'm going to select my sample from, is going to be my sales journal entries. Okay? So I start with my journal entries, and then I work backwards to find matching invoices, shipment, notification, and customer orders. What if, however, I'm testing completeness? Alright, so completeness is about looking for understatements, whereas our occurrence is about looking for overstatements. Okay, so if we're looking at understatements, I'm trying to find situations where I might have sold goods to a customer, but they're not actually recorded in my journal. So I need to start, when I'm tracing, at the beginning and then moving forward in time. So in the instance of testing completeness, my population actually needs to be my customer orders or some sort of shipping notification. Alright. So which of those might you use? If you're sure that every order results in shipment of goods, you could pick customer orders. You might pick shipment of goods because we can't recognize revenue until goods are actually shipped. So either of those would be okay. Now what happens if I'm testing accuracy as an assertion, which is about, is everything recorded at the correct dollar amount? Well, what we might actually do when we're doing our vouching or we're doing our tracing is at the same time, when I go back and I check my invoice, or I move forward in time and I check my invoice, I will do my accuracy test at the same time. So accuracy's population could be related to the orders or the journal entries, depending on what other procedure you combine it with. And then our last one is our cutoff assertion. Which financial period should I be recording my transactions in? Remember, this is a very specialized test around the end of the financial year. Okay, so our population there is going to be related to transactions slightly before and slightly after the end of the financial year. And depending on whether you're testing for overstatement or understatement, you might pick journal entries or you might pick customer orders. So you can do some of these tests in conjunction with each other. So hopefully this explains a little bit more about when I'm picking my population, which documents I need to select at the client. This is really important because when it comes to writing audit procedures, I have 3 rules. Alright. So the first rule is we need to use the right name for the audit procedure. Am I vouching? Am I tracing? Am I recalculating, doing an analytical procedure? Number 2, I need to use the client specific terms for processes and for documents. So if they call it a shipping manifest, you call it a shipping manifest. If they call it something else, you call it something else. And then 3, be specific. Alright? So the procedure needs to be detailed enough so that somebody needs to do it. So if I'm using sales and I'm testing occurrence, then I might say something like vouch a sample of sales journal entries and match to shipping documents. Okay, so I've used my audit term. I'm telling you where I'm getting my sample from, and I'm matching, saying exactly what I'm matching to. Alright, and I might even go a bit further there. Check quantities and dollar values are correct. Alright, because if I'm vouching sales journal entries, I might also check dates as part of a cutoff test. So it's really important that we understand the population, that we understand the assertion, so that we can do the most specific procedure possible.